Hi, my name's Ztarli, and in this video I'll be drawing a Halloween version of my dragon character, Tarli. Just a reminder, as with most of my videos, this is a time-lapse video and does contain fast-moving and flashing images. So I'd kind of forgotten about Halloween until my Patreon member Ztarli asked for an update of their avatar to have a Halloween-themed avatar. After that, I kind of wanted to do my own theme, but maybe a little less gruesome. So I decided to draw my character Tarli, which I don't get much time to draw anymore, so I was looking forward to having a bit of time to do some personal art. It was a little bit tricky to come up with an idea since my favourite kind of Halloween things are like vampires and werewolves, and Tarli as a character already has giant fangs sticking out her face and big ears and a big sort of pluff of fur that goes all the way down her spine, so it would be tricky to make the costume obvious with her current design. So I decided to go with a Frankenstein's monster kind of thing with these bits of flesh that have been sewn on. So you can see here I'm adding some lines across the throat and on the face, and the plan is to colour these bits of skin a different tone to the rest. Now, I did actually draw two pictures of Tarli on the same day. One of them you're seeing here now, and there is another one which I'll share later on. I did spend 2 hours on both of them, but they did turn out very different. Now, the main reason they are different is because in this one I actually do line art, which actually took me a third of the time spent on the drawing, and in the other one I didn't do any line art and went straight from sketch to colouring. So the second picture is actually far more detailed and a lot more time has been spent on the colouring than what was spent on this one. I do still like both pictures, and this one was always intended to be a sort of limited used picture just for Halloween as an avatar on Discord. I was still quite happy with how it turned out, and I achieved what I was trying to do. It's just really interesting to see how much difference doing line art and not doing line art has for me. It just is a big time sink, and though this line art looks very good, if I was to paint over it, you wouldn't see any of the line art. So I do always keep in mind, if I do plan to do a full painted picture, that there's no point in me doing line art. It just absorbs a bunch of time I could be using colouring instead. Once I finished the line art, it was time to do the flat colours, and I did have a reference for my character's colours, but as you can see here, I've actually gone with some off colours instead of using the original brighter colours, and I did want a sort of undead feel to the character. So I've just gone with this lighter version of her normal green skin colour, and then in the patch which has been sewn on, I decided to go a much darker colour. Now later on in the video you'll see I wasn't actually happy with the darker patch, and that it didn't appear to be different enough after I'd shaded the whole picture. It sort of blended in a bit more, so I do make some adjustments to the colours after I finish shading the picture. I decided not to use the pink or red blush I normally do because I did want, as mentioned before, I wanted to be undead or kind of sickly, so I've gone with a purple blush instead, which I later changed to a green colour, but the point was I didn't want to use the pinky red colour. For the eyes, I wanted to have a sort of dead glazed over eye look, and originally I wanted to have like white pupils in the eyes, but it just didn't really work out, so I ended up removing these pupils altogether and just having just the coloured eye sort of glazed over and a sort of bluey light colour to sort of give the idea that this is not a living creature anymore. The hair is also just a dulled out version of the original hair, and I did use a a very close colour to the original horns and scales, but I did decide to colour one of her scale plates a different colour, as I did with the two that are on the patch of skin that's different. I also decided not to use the gold edging that her plate scales normally have, and went with a silver instead to sort of keep the whole colour theme of the picture fairly subdued and washed out, which I think looks very good. I was very happy with how the flat colours looked and the sort of feel and temperature of the picture. For the shading of the picture, I just went with a fairly lazy style, so I've just chosen a multiply layer and just used a sort of aqua color for the shadows. I don't really do much else to this layer. There's a bit of blurring and blending in, but that's pretty much it. I do also do a bit of color adjusting, but I didn't do a full paint on this, and I didn't make any changes to the line art either, so there's not much more actual shading I do on this. When I finished doing the shading, I did decide it was a tiny bit plain, so after I added the background, I also added some reflected light bouncing off the underside of her neck and coming in from the back of her head, just to add some interest, and also because I can't help myself and I really like doing that reflected light or glow somewhere in the picture. The background are also very lazy. I just used this cloud brush that I created some time ago and just put a bunch of different colors down and then just mix them around. I did spend a little bit of time trying to make the cloud shape more like clouds, so they looked less random and more like billowing smoke or something like that. And then I just used the color balance tool to change the actual color, as I actually never intended to have this color. I just find it a pleasing color to paint with, and then I change it to the colors that I actually want to contrast in the picture. was a little worried that it would be a bit hard to tell what was going on in this picture, so I was going to add a giant bolt into the side of her neck, but after playing around with it for a while, I decided it just didn't work, and I do actually end up deleting this, even though I spent a bit of time colouring and shading the bolt. I just thought it didn't really add anything to the picture, and since I was going to have it at a small size, you probably wouldn't even be able to tell what it is properly. Here it is. This is my finished Halloween avatar. Very spooky. Ooh. Thanks everybody for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I also have a Patreon if you want to support me. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!